day.
It's done unto you as you believe. It's done unto you as you believe.
I'm gonna get there, yes, somehow. Push my way through the crowd. I'm gonna grab you by the hand to a place we will stand. Stand proud, no fear. It's clear, I believe in you. I believe in me. Yeah. I believe that we can make this dream a reality. Yeah, yeah. Now's the time to be. 'Cause I
Believe it in me, and I believe it. Well, you're going to listen to Jordan. Please welcome Mr. Leo Burrows Jr. Good morning, Leo.
Good morning, and praise the Lord, and pass the ammunition for justice, decency, and fair play. And I forgot my tie. You didn't remind me.
I did forget, but you were busy this morning, so you'd already left the house. It was a little late. Mr. James C. Morant. God bless you. Welcome. Thank you again for coming on board with us. We're honored to have you here. How are you today, sir?
Thank you, sir. I am doing well, and I'm honored to be here. Good morning, Baltimore.
Good morning, Baltimore. And as I forestated, the eminent, the brilliant, the wonderful, the man, all of these gentlemen are just after God's own heart. We all love God. As we love ourselves, and we love ourselves as we love our people. And this is why I'm so excited about this panel. Please welcome the great, eminent Dr. Marvin Doc Cheatham. How are you, sir?
I'm good, and I can't pay you for anything you just said.
Amen.
You
Turn the mic on.
Yes, I turned it on. You don't have to pay me. When I think of the goodness of Jesus and all that he's brought us through and how he's kept us and how his people like you three gentlemen who have been fighting for years for truth and justice and for our people. We're just honored to have each and every one of you here. And I can't forget, I tell you, we've got an erudite, scribe among us. Amen. Who is a brilliant man in so many ways. Please welcome Mr. Richard Terry. How are you, Richard?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Richard.
Good
Morning.
How are you today?
Well, I'm here. Any day above ground is a good day.
Well, that's the truth right there, as the little children say. Ain't no TH on the truth, and that's just the truth. We'll welcome you here, and we're thankful that you were able to join us again on Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Well, it's been one amazing past week.
I feel like the redheaded stepchild in here today.
Oh, my God.
How can we forget? I'm sorry, Jason
Lord.
Rodriguez. Come on.
The black sheep of the family. family.
We apologize, you black sheep. We do apologize.
Mr. Jason Rodriguez, our producer and also co-anchor. Jason is in a different room from us now. He's so multi-talented that when I do get to see him, it's so rare these days. And please welcome Jason Rodriguez.
Peace and blessings, family. Just want to remind everyone we're now streaming live on Facebook, Periscope, and YouTube Live. You'll get to see our amazing group of, I call them the wise men here in living color, and Patrick Henderson in all of his glory this Monday morning.
Well, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me and each and every one of us because he has anointed us to preach the gospel to the poor. I was thinking this morning, I was listening to Larry's show, and I had a call in to Coach, and we were talking about Ben Jallis, and Coach, he made a statement that I thought was not encompassing. He felt like people didn't know Ben Jallis, and how could you not know Ben Jallis? He's nationally known, a Rhodes Scholar, and a native son. And you know, when I thought about it after I got off the phone, I want to say this. I think that we need a shepherd for a mayor here in Baltimore. We keep getting these evangelists now. Okay, we keep getting evangelists, and you know what an evangelist does. They come in there, stir everything up, then they get out of Dodge. We get people that come in and stir stuff up and then stay in office to the end of their term. We need a shepherd to come into the city and think upon the people and think and find ways to deliver us from these hands.
And Patrick,
keep us in bondage. Yes.
And Patrick, can I clarify something? When you guys were talking about this morning as far as fundraising is concerned, I want to identify the fact that Ben decided not to take any PAC money or any money from big organizations and strictly stick with grassroots organizing and getting of donations. So
that's why he didn't have enough money.
That may have hurt him in the long run because he didn't go with the PACs and he didn't go with the special interest groups.
Status quo.
Of course, and that may have hurt him. But he felt that it was true to himself and true to his vision
and his integrity.
Yes. If he decided to do it from the grassroots level.
Well,
and I commend him for that.
I commend him for that too. The only problem with it was that Hogan was allowed to frame him and to paint him into such a corner. I said it this morning. You know, Ben Jallis is one of the whitest looking black men I've ever met in my life. But if you go back and look at those ads, they put filters on him to make him look darker skinned, more ominous. They only showed pictures of the scowl on his face, and they took his words out of context, and they did everything that they could to make sure that they damaged him to the point that when he did come with some ads, that nobody was paying attention because they had already framed him in the way they wanted him to be seen.
Patrick,
They did a Willie Horton type thing.
What'd you say about Willie Horton?
A Willie Horton style.
We coming to that because George H.W. Bush just died. Go ahead and say what you're going to say, Richard.
I said this is just politics. That's politics 101. And when you were talking about what we need right now, what we've had for many, shall we say, decades now, are snake oil salesmen.
Bait and switch.
They sell us a good product, and then when it comes right down to the proof, it's all fake and false.
I agree with you 100%. And you know, I keep reminding you all that with the politicians in the city, the number one thing that I hear is them N-words don't vote. They don't vote. Okay, so then people wonder why they don't vote. Does everybody ever ask why, Doc, that they don't vote? That's because every time they put somebody in there, them people end up being just like you say, snake oil salesmen who once they get in there, they're not who they said they were going to be. So people just become a bit apathetic after a point. No, Leo? Go ahead.
Yeah, I happen to think that there's also a socialization process with regard to voting. When I say that, being a product of the Baltimore City Public Schools, a 1960s graduate of Frederick Douglass High School, they taught civics at Douglass. We had mock elections at Douglass. They didn't tell us to be a Republican or Democrat, but we understood civic responsibility. There has been a conscious effort to downplay and to degrade the kind of quality education, civics, that we had at that point in time. even down to my argument that you get tired of me saying about cursive writing.
Yes.
I happen to think it's still important that
It
you
is.
know
It
how to
is.
write your name for sake of identity and for sake of being intelligent. It's a foundation of reading and reading and so forth. So the reality is that if you don't teach not just voter registration, which you must have but you've got to teach voter education. What is different from what kind of ballots do they have? Are there different kind of ballot initiatives? All those things have to be inculcated into after-school programs, Sunday school programs, efforts that are ongoing in our community on the part of fraternities, sororities, churches, community organizations to enlighten our adults and youth. And if the youth are not trained and socialized to understand the importance of voting
It will never be
and how to address that, and Doc can speak to that better than I.
And their power.
Then you can't expect to snap your fingers and say, well, just go out and vote.
No, you
have to teach them from the cradle to the grave about the
Okay,
voting.
I'm going to go to Doc next, and then I'm coming to you, Mr. Moran.
I have a challenge for us, gentlemen. I think, Leo, without a doubt, you're correct. I think we have all said what you just said in many different ways. But here's the challenge I would put to us. I think the five of us have the ability, the experience, the history. Why don't we collectively write a curriculum for the Baltimore public school system to bring civics back to the Baltimore City public school system? Why don't we take that on, and we don't necessarily have to fall under the I guess the auspices of the Baltimore City public school system, but why don't we at least write a curriculum and then offer it ourselves on weekends?
Listen, we could do it as an after-school program and get money to do it. We could get a grant to do it for an after-school. Now, let me tell you what I think, and I agree with you 100%, Doc. You know what I've been suggesting at Liberty? I believe that there should be a third grade president of the class, fourth grade president of the class. I believe that they should have to vote and learn what this person says they're going to do for the third graders. That would be a way to start it, for them to realize that they have power by investing in a person that says what they're going to do for them. There's a very simple way to do it, but I agree with you, and I'm with you 100% about writing that curriculum. But I would say just start, even with just having prayer like we had when we were kids in high school and stuff. We had a class president. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. So something like that.
I have a couple of reactions too. When I was coming up, we had civics, obviously. We had, I think, currently in the U.S. there are 8 states that mandate civics.
Oh, okay.
So they've just sort of dropped it as an issue of importance. But we also had a student court, and we actually set aside the cafeteria at the end of certain days, and you actually had a defense attorney, a prosecutor, for whatever infraction you did at the school, and it was handled in that student court. You had a judge, and so you actually saw at the high school level exactly what you might face as you get older. And it was a great thing.
Yeah,
I mean, people were enthusiastic about it. Young people were enthusiastic about it. So those are some things we could do, actually.
I see you, Doc, taking notes, and we're going to do this.
And the other thing is, I have developed a civics course for my church, and I called it Civics 101. And it started with a benchmarking test, 25 questions to see if you could answer those. Now, I got to tell you, of the adults that are taking this course, it's a 90-minute course. The highest score has been an 88. So we have some deficits even at the
adult level.
At the adult level.
I think we already have the president of our school. I just think you talk yourself into
Yeah, right. He's already got it. Let's see that curriculum.
Why reinvent the wheel?
I'd be happy to share it.
And give some
if I
input.
can add something to this discussion?
Yes.
You mentioned student court. There was a program here in Baltimore at one time where they had a student court that was set up for juveniles who shall we say, had minor offenses. And it's modeled up to something that I watched in Montgomery County with a great deal of interest and brought it back to Baltimore. And it was actually, when I saw it, it was up and running. And what they had a judge, They had students acting as defense counsel and prosecutor with the aid of adults. But they had wraparound services in place at that time after the adjudication took place in order to get that juvenile back on the right track again so they wouldn't offend again.
Interesting.
Well, it was also a competition. You wanted to have your grades and your behavior such that you could compete to be a judge or that you could compete to be a defense or prosecuting attorney. And so it gave the students a goal. And
also a foretaste.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Of what the possibilities
absolutely.
were. And that's what we have. What's the gentleman's name? What's the guy's name who you were saying, Richard, who wrote...
was it him?
Not him. What was the other one? He was a state legislator for a long time. He's at Coppin now.
Ralph Hughes.
Yes, Mr. Hughes.
Senator Hughes.
Yes.
Senator Ralph Hughes.
Yes. Maybe we might contact him and see what he has and what they're doing over there, because I believe they do have a mock court. I don't think it's maybe once a year that they do. I love this. This is what Patrick Henderson's Meet the People is all about.
Praise
We're going to work on this because this is what it's supposed to be. We can't just talk about the problems if we don't bring solutions. Yes, Leo.
When we talk about the Board of Supervisors of Elections, and Doc is an expert, those kinds of things have got to be transmitted to people in understanding what the board does, how it does it. We talk about provisional ballots, absentee ballots, and you'd be surprised people who don't really understand the processes associated with voting and their rights constitutionally. So you got to review all of that. So again, we're on solid ground with respect to pushing this agenda, because there had to have been some kind of someone had an agenda to downsize the intelligence of the American voter, to program folks to vote for the incumbent
absolutely
all the time.
We did a summer program at D.C. at the Downtown Cultural Arts Center. When the mayor had Stephanie Rollins Blake had the Youth Works, and we had Bank of America come in and to teach finances to the young people that were working. Do you know 80-90% of those kids had never heard of a savings account?
Yeah, I would believe it.
They were shocked, and when they knew they could put their money in a savings account and get it out of their house so could nobody steal it, okay, they were shocked. Many of them, in fact, I think 90% of them opened up bank accounts from that experience, because we know not. And when we know not, we won't do, and then we'll find out, and that's what we must change. And I tell you what, I don't think it should just start at high school. I think we got to reach these kids before puberty. I'm gonna keep telling y'all that, because once they get
I agree.
We got to get them before they come into.
I just wrote down elementary and middle school.
Yes, sir. Right before I said it. Absolutely, we got to get them before, because after puberty, y'all, they got other things on their mind.
We might use the elementary and middle school students to actually convey it and educate their parents.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
that would be the place to start.
Yeah.
Because there is a necessity for this, because let's look at we talk about voting. Voting leads to the services that each of these communities get, and the politicians, and Doc, you correct me if I'm wrong, those in office look at the district maps and determine who votes and who doesn't.
Yes,
vote.
sir.
How do we elect someone and they don't even campaign at all? That's on us. That's on us as a citizen.
You're exactly right.
Gentlemen, I think we need to go ahead and commit. I think, thanks to Praise Him, that we have this concept brought to us today. We already figure out who the principal is already.
Yes, sir, Mr. Moran.
We're just here to be servants.
We will keep you all posted. This is happening. If you'd like to get involved, call in and leave your number with Jason, and we'll get back to you. We're going to do this thing, and I tell you, this is a blessing. When I got up this morning, I said, Lord, direct us, guide us. Open our minds, open our hearts, oh God. Lead us to that place where we might find a place of panacea, of pleasure, a place of movement for our people. And this is the beginning of it all, because when you don't get involved and you don't speak and elect the people that will represent you, will be ruled by fools and idiots. And that's where we are. Dr. Williams, thank you for calling. Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment, sir?
Yes, I do. I am enjoying your discussion. I started listening to you last week. Now,
thank you.
I have a couple of points that I want to make, and I hope you bear with me.
Yes, sir.
Stony the road trod.
Yes, indeed. Lift every voice and sing. I am Eugene Williams Sr. I used to be the dean of Sojourner Douglas College. I was the first dean of Sojourner Douglas College, but that's not important. It's not about me. I am listening to you. Civics, yes, we need civics. What can we do to get the Baltimore school system to implement a curriculum to teach our young boys and girls who they are and from whence they came? I'm talking about Afro-American studies. When can we do that? Now, after having, and that must be done. Now, after saying that, I want to tell you something about an experience I had just about 20 minutes ago, and you can help me with it, talking about solving problems. I just called the governor's office in Annapolis, and this is what I said to the governor, and I wonder what you think about it. I told the young man on the phone, I said, we're coming up with inauguration. I think it's about December 16th or something like that. And I'm saying to the governor, Governor, you must help us in a way with the national anthem and the Negro national anthem. I said to the young man, you pass on to the inaugural committee that at the governor's swearing in this year, we should have someone to sing and or play, lift every voice and sing the Negro national anthem. Now, many people may not think that important. I think it's important because many of us black people put the governor in this term around. And so I said, that's what he must do. Moreover, I said to the young man on the phone, tell the governor that he must implement a program here in the state of Maryland where colleges like the University of Maryland, where we had that young man to die because of overexertion, we should put a picture up in the athletic building, and we must start singing at the University of Maryland, lift every voice and sing the Negro national anthem. I'm very, very passionate about this. I not only shared it with the governor's office, but I also shared it with Mike Miller's office, and I also shared it with the president of the University of Maryland College Park. So where am I? I'm focusing on Afro-American studies. I'm focused on lift every voice and sing. And you guys sound like the guys who can really help to make this happen. As far as Afro-American studies is concerned, we got Morgan there, all of those great black historians. I think when I was over at Sojourner Douglas, Dr. Snowden was there. And he used to come down and teach at the college.
That's right.
You got Coppin, you got those great schools with those great black scholars. Get them involved. Develop a curriculum on Afro-American studies. I won't take up any more of your time.
Well, Dr. Williams, may I say this, and Doc, I'm going to give it right to you. But when Obama was in his first inauguration, not inauguration, but when he was sworn in as president, what was the gentleman from SCLC who quoted the lyrics to Lift Every Voice? Am I correct? What was
Joseph Lowry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I tell you, tears flow. I don't care how much tears flow down my eyes when he stood up and quoted that. Man, it was so powerful. So I agree with you and understand the need to Doc.
But I want to say just one thing, and I'm going to go get out of your way. I want all of you who are talking today to Google Lift Every Voice and Sing, April 16th, Washington Post.
Okay.
I may have mentioned this before.
April 16th.
Beyonce is mentioned in that article, and so am I.
Okay.
An old 77-year-old man. And then I want you to Google Lift Every Voice and Sing - Dr. Eugene Williams Sr.
Okay.
And I'd like to talk with you all more. And all you have to do is go to my website, Lift Every Voice, DrEugeneWilliamsSr.com. I have also a YouTube GoFundMe page where I'm raising money to get young boys and girls T-shirts, caps, and all those kinds of things with Lift Every Voice and Sing on it. And
good idea.
Just go to my GoFundMe page, Dr. Eugene Williams Sr.
All right.
But it's not about me. It's about an issue. I'm about promoting people, things, and ideas. That's what I've done all of my life.
Bless you,
and
bless
so
you.
I thank you so very much because I enjoy you every week.
Well, thank you. I think Doc did you want to speak directly to him?
Yes, Doc, I want to definitely share your sentiments about Lift Every Voice and Sing. And I've had a concept for a while, and I think the time has come. I think June 17th of each year should be a year where we have our high schools compete with one another in singing. Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Yes.
My concept, and I definitely want to talk with you more about this because I concur. If one listens to the words
Yes, sir.
Of Lift Every Voice and Sing, there is no anthem in the world that's better. When you listen to the words, what was said in those words, and I'm very prejudicial. James Weldon Johnson was the first black secretary of the NAACP. That's where I cut my teeth in civil rights. But I'm also happy to say that he's my fraternity brother. He's a member of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity. I want to suggest that we encourage our high schools. I'm willing to start with funding it. I would love to see us have a competition where we have X number of minutes that are provided to each high school, and they would sing their own rendition of Lift Every Voice and Sing. And, you know, the NAACP, we don't have events, at least we're not supposed to have any event that is public where we don't sing Lift Every Voice and Sing. The song is great. I totally support your efforts. When I heard your voice, I said, thank God Dr. Williams is coming back to talk about Lift Every Voice and Sing, because I concur.
Let me do this. Let me give you my email address, if I may.
I'm ready.
My email address is my wife's email, Mary Johnson, MaryJohnson, Mary Johnson 01 at Verizon.net. And I don't mind giving my telephone number. My telephone number is 301-768-8316. I have nothing to do but to work with people like you on getting things done, solving problems.
God bless you.
Well, I will say I taught Lift Every Voice and Sing at the Montessori school last fall, and they have a day of peace day that they have. I think it's every Friday, and we prepared Lift Every Voice and Sing for the elementary school kids to sing it outside in their playground, and it was a peace ceremony that was really nice, and it was multicultural.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you, Richard, and I've been thinking about this, Dr. Williams, and to all of you gentlemen. I have a recording studio in my home.
Oh, do you?
And I thought maybe if I did sort of a hip-hop version of it.
Sir.
A hip-hop version of it, the kids would gravitate to it and give someone they can shake their bodies and move the body to it. So I'm going to work on that. You have encouraged me today because I've been thinking about it. If I do a hip-hop version, I think the kids will gravitate to it.
And you know what, sir?
Yes, sir.
What we're going to do when we do that is we're going to put it on YouTube, and it'll probably go,
viral. Yes.
That's what we need.
Gotcha.
You all are thinking men.
Yes, sir. Leo Burrows.
Dr. Eugene Williams.
Yes, sir.
Have you, and I embrace all that you've said.
Yes, sir.
I embrace all that this panel has said by way of acclamation and support. Have you perchance had a conversation with the CEO of Baltimore City Public Schools? I'm just curious. Sonia Santelises or any members of the Board of School Commissioners regarding the African American Studies proposal. You know, the mayor last night, not to her detriment necessarily, but she lit the menorah in the McKeldin Square downtown. So again, if you can light the menorah, you can light the Kanara for Kwanzaa.
Come on.
But yeah, if you can do that, we think that our level of consciousness has everything to do with the fact that we have our elected officials are public servants and we pay their salaries. So I would ask you also, in addition to what you shared, which I think is wonderful, that you also make a formal presentation, a formal proposal to the Board of School Commissioners and the CEO. Just if for no other reason, I want to gauge their reaction to to that.
Hold on, gentlemen. Hold on for a minute. You're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on WOLB 1010 Baltimore. Don't you guys touch that dial. We'll be right back.
1010 WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore.
We're back. Oh, but that was a quickie. Ain't nothing like a good quickie. All right, go ahead.
Okay, Leo.
I plead the fifth.
I don't know nothing about nothing.
Richard.
Leo, Doctor, I've heard you several times, and I'm totally in agreement with the rest of my colleagues here. But in dealing with the Baltimore City public school system, I think there might be a slight road bump.
Yes, sir.
And that is that, and this has to deal with the Department of Education and that nasty little thing that was created some years ago called Common Core.
Nasty. You're the wrong person to be calling Common Core nasty, my buddy, because I know it works. It works.
It may work, but with Common Core, a lot of the things that a lot of these students need have been removed from many curriculums across the country.
Then we fight to resurrect
Richard,
what we need.
We must realize that the educational system of the United States was set up to create workers. It was created to people work in factories. There was only so much knowledge. It was all rote. You remember this and you remember that. And how many tests have you taken that you didn't remember nothing that you studied? The time is over for this system. We're going to go more like Finland.
Well, you have to. I agree, Patrick, and you have to now teach people to think independently.
Yes, critically, independently,
and the critical thinking is necessary.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what Common Core does.
And okay,
well,
but then on top of that, what happens is, what about those things that help them in the long run, like things like learning how to write in cursive, because students no longer know how to do that
because they don't have to do it now. At Liberty Elementary School, we teach cursive, but you know what? I want to get hung up on this, but I want you all to understand. Yes, sir, Doctor. I just want to say this. You're right about cursive. When you write cursively, it does something to your brain.
Yes.
Unlike printing. So I absolutely understand that, but trust me, you can teach cursive, but until our children start thinking about what they're being taught and have an opinion about what they're being taught, we're going to continue in the same rote, going nowhere, American bull crap that they want to keep us in. White folks don't like Common Core because you're letting black people and teaching them how to think critically. I had a teacher, and teachers to tell me that's the best thing that ever happened. Their children are using words that they didn't even teach them. They're saying and thinking in ways that they've never been allowed to or encouraged to think through Common Core. So, Richard, please don't ever, but I'm your buddy. I love you much, but please, I ain't the one to put it down with.
The city, state, and federal government works for us. We've got to take that, assume that mantle. Exactly. And I understand what Richard's saying, but I don't give a damn about the bumps. We're going to put some bumps on some folks' heads in terms of demanding what needs to be done in our self-interest.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then that's what's going to have to happen, because unless that is changed, they will not be. It's going to be difficult to insert something into that curriculum, not unless you do it in an after-school setting.
No, I tell you how you implement it. You do it during Black History Month.
Not only that, but I'm going to tell you something, Doc. You got a point there, but I have proven in my after-school program, man, I teach them Greek and Latin prefixes, so that they can understand the word, because I tutored for 2 years in reading partners. And anytime a word get more than 3 or 4 syllables, they go, Mr. Henderson, I don't know what that is.
You can break it down.
But by teaching them the prefix and the suffix, they can figure out any word. Not only that, even if the school system does not allow us to change the curriculum, after school programs, I teach my kids, I got a little program in there where it's nothing but about black inventors, who we are. When they found out the black man invented the lawnmower, when they found out that the black man invented the refrigeration, when they found out this, go, Mr. Henderson, you kidding? When they find out these things, they have no idea. But when they do, and it is proven scientifically, that children who study an Afrocentric curriculum are not only more valuable to themselves, but are greater contributors to society. Thank you, Dr. Williams, very much. We're going to go to Uncle Fred. Fred, y'all pray. Uncle Fred.
Hey, how you doing?
We're fine.
Uncle Fred.
Oh, you're on the right path. You get the right education, and they've got to succeed.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord.
I mean, they got to. We got to stop beating our kids down and saying what they can't do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They're talking about they mad. Yeah. You know why they're angry? We never ask why they're angry. And you know what? Yeah, hold on for a minute, Fred. I want to talk about that cafeteria thing where those kids threw that milk. I didn't get a chance to give my thoughts on that. The one thing I kept noticing, they kept saying these kids are mad, they're angry, and they're out of control. Now, which adult sitting in this room goes into a place to make a purchase, and someone tells you, and you making that purchase, that you have to buy this, and in order to buy this, you have to buy this too? Who tells you how to spend your money in America? Is that allowed? And that's what they were doing. They said they just wanted the milk. They didn't want the milk. They told them they couldn't have it. So the kids got upset and voiced it in a not a good way. But they said, I have a right to spend my money as I choose. Am I right or wrong?
The policy was that, unfortunately, that if they were going to take the reduced lunch, that they were supposed to get the whole package.
Right.
They're supposed to take the whole
And so it was
meal.
based on that.
Correct.
Well, how about giving another kid that didn't get enough food, give him that extra meal?
Well, that could have happened. That could have happened, Pat. But like the gentleman said, it's a policy there. This is how it goes. You know, you got to go with this. These kids that did this to this woman.
No, they were paying. I thought they were paying. They said they were paying for the food.
Yeah, it was a reduced lunch. It's a reduced lunch.
Well, you know, there's no justification for them beating this person up.
No, none.
None whatsoever.
None.
And when kids jump on an adult and break her arm.
Yeah. What about when adults jump on kids and break their arms?
Lock them up.
Well, you know what happens to them.
Lock up the kids, the teenagers who break it, vice versa.
Right. I mean, if a kid jump on an adult, two kids, and break her arm, that shouldn't be allowed at all.
It shouldn't be allowed for adults to break children's arms either, is what I'm saying.
That's not allowed.
But we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. We only talk about what the rights of the adult is, and that kid doesn't have. That kid is a piece of property. We can break their arms. We can abuse them. We can rape them. We can do all sorts of things to them. 77% of all young girls between the ages of 15 and 20 have been sexually molested in our community, sir. So you know, it's just a matter of we need to be realistic. Those young people have rights too.
I think the thing that was troubling out of the whole thing was that the cafeteria worker's sister said that when you call these parents up to the school, in a lot of cases, these parents are a problem
too.
Yeah, they're very problematic.
They want to fight too.
Correct, and you can't get the issues resolved and the discipline needed, or to try to reinforce what the policies and rules were to these children because the parents ain't trying to hear it.
Well, you know what? Interesting, Jason. You brought up a point that I've been wanting to talk about. I was looking the other day on Facebook, and someone was talking about how angry and mean elderly people are. Okay, how mean they are. And I thought about it. And I said, those kids that we're talking about that are angry and mean now are now those seniors that are in the homes that you have to deal with. They're angry because nobody ever validated them either.
Not true, Patrick.
I believe it is, sir, and I can prove it. I can prove it.
Well, can I tell a thing about it?
Yes, you may.
We came along around the same time. The generation that our community missed, when they took our babies off the nipple, when they gave them Similac, that's what started this journey that we're on right now. The first contact that a human being has when they come in the world for their, to attach to something is the mother's breast.
Yes.
My kid, I have an oldest daughter that was one of those kids. They gave us Similac. All you do is sign for it, free. Tell your old lady, don't let them kids suck on your breast. It make them out of shape. Seriously.
What this soil is doing.
I have two sets of kids. I have some kids that were breastfed. I have some kids that weren't. They're two different people.
Really, mentally and physically?
Emotionally. That attachment type thing.
Okay.
They're all good kids. Some of them are more affectionate than the ones who weren't breastfed.
Wow. Interesting.
I think what it was is that when they started doing the Similac, this is when we began to get the chemical additives put into a lot of this. Because I grew up on the old pet milk diet.
Absolutely. My oldest daughter's mother and I went to junior high school together. So I knew her when she was 11, 12 years old. When my daughter got to be 11, 12 years old, she was built like a grown damn woman. From Similac.
From that soy. Absolutely. That's right. You should not feed it to boys. We understand why our boys are getting breasts as such. That's that soy. You should not give it to them. I agree with you 100%. And the idea that they would say that the breast milk would be bad for you is just unbelievable that people actually believed it when Mother Nature has created it so.
Well, they put so many tricks on us, Patrick, over the years. You know what I'm saying? They introduced women's lip. I don't know what communities y'all grew up in, but in the black community that I grew up in, the black woman was always liberated.
Really?
She was.
Well, all right, Fred, God bless you. Have a great day. Thank you for that commentary, but the black woman has also always been the nigger of the world. Mr. Mills, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question? We're good. How are you?
Yeah, my question to my main man. You know, you my main man. You my main man. Now listen to me, man.
I'm listening.
You said out your mouth. You said that America got a right to spend their money, right?
Yes, sir. The way they want to.
Okay. Wait a minute, brother. This lady is a personal friend of my coworker.
Mm-hmm.
When she spent her money, she spent it on her community. She spent it on the kids.
The lady that was hurt?
Listen to what I'm saying, my brother.
I'm looking for clarification,
this lady
sir.
That got assaulted,
okay, all
she
right.
helped the community, right?
Okay. She didn't deserve what she got.
How are we going to protect her if you saying that these kids have a right to spend their money or the right to, however you was explaining that, because they don't have a right to assault somebody that's putting knowledge and trying to teach them.
I agree.
You know, listen to me. If it's a policy that the school put in place, that don't fall on the teacher. That falls on who put the policy in place.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, so we cannot make excuses on what happened to that teacher first, because that teacher wrist is broken.
Yes, terrible.
And she's all messed up.
Yes, sir. I agree. Listen, sir.
When are we gonna wait a minute, my brother? When are we gonna put some responsibility on the perpetrator that's actually doing the crimes?
When we arrest them and put them in jail.
No. Listen. Baltimore County don't have these kind of problems.
Oh, yes, they do.
But they might, but they don't have it so often. So if you could put things in order to deter these kids from doing it, would be a blessing.
It would. I agree.
At the same time, we cannot sit there and say, well, people got a right to spend their money. Why didn't the teacher just deal with this and that? That's not that teacher's job to do that and this and that.
Well, I'm going to say, all right, I've listened.
That ain't the student's job to find somebody that want the food. It's a policy.
Well, I agree with you. I didn't know that if they buy one thing that they had to buy another, and they said it's at a reduced rate.
It's all part of the school lunch program and the reduced lunch program.
See, but nobody's ever. Did anybody hear that on the radio?
I have one question.
Did anybody hear that on the radio? Did anybody hear that said?
No,
it just sounded like.
I have one question for you.
Okay.
I have one question for you.
Okay.
If you was the school superintendent, what would be your recommendation of punishment for that child that assaulted that teacher? What would you do?
Expulsion, first of all, and then prosecution. There is no
what
excuse.
Kind of prosecution?
Whatever's appropriate for the crime committed, sir. And therefore,
so that's what I'm saying. So why would you say that on the radio? Why would you say, people got a right to spend their money and this and that?
You do. I didn't know that there was a policy. I didn't know there was a policy where they had to buy the thing, and they just made it clear to me.
And that was actually.
I was just making sure that you wasn't making an excuse of what.
No, man.
And that was actually explained on Fox 45. That again, that was where the whole confrontation came at, because the cafeteria worker was trying to explain to the children that if you want to purchase the milk, you have to purchase the whole program. It comes as a complete meal, a complete package. You just can't pick out of the meal and say, I only want this.
So they could have taken it and threw it in the trash if they wanted to. Right.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Sir, I think Big Mill, you still there? Okay, he hung up. All right. Hopefully.
So let me give you a point of clarification. I have a friend of mine who teaches out in Baltimore, who's taught out Baltimore County. The same things that happen in Baltimore County happen in Baltimore City, but because the schools are predominantly white in the county, you don't hear about them. You don't hear about the incidents like you hear about it in the city, but it happens everywhere.
Well, that gentleman that just called, and I want to make sure that it goes out that I did not say that those kids had a right to do what they did to that woman. That is the most deplorable thing that they could have done. That was wrong. There is no right to violence. There just never is. And I didn't know that they bought one thing, they had to buy the other. I'm being educated here. I don't know it all, but I just think that it was important for us to go. When I'm upset when I go somewhere and I have to stand in line to pay my money. I do. I think that there should be people there to collect the money. We were talking about it today on the way here, people that go to the bank on the 1st of the month. And the line's out the door and there's 2 tellers in the bank. We don't get good service
in
here.
Black neighborhoods.
In black neighborhoods only. So this is what I'm saying, and I certainly don't want any. Don't y'all go say Patrick said. No, I did not say that. Did not know that they had to take the whole meal. But then again, maybe the lady, maybe she was trying to explain it to them, and the kids are hotheads, and they're angry, and they're frustrated. And a hungry man is an angry man. And so that would play into play here. But please don't y'all go and tell nobody that Patrick said that those kids had a right. No, they didn't have a right if that was the policy. I just didn't know that it was explained to them because I never heard that was the policy until Jason explained it to me. All right.
And again, that's just what I heard from what was being explained in the news. And if I remember correctly, even with my grandbaby's school, when they go to utilize the USDA school lunch reduced program, it comes in a complete tray. The milk, maybe a dessert, and some other items, whether it's the pizza, or the potato wedges or whatever have you, in a complete meal, and they have to take the complete meal if they're going to purchase the reduced program.
All right, clear. We're clear.
And the student could have given, as Patrick said, could have given the milk to a friend.
Yeah, my kids do it all the time. They won't eat the bologna sometimes that they give them. They'll say, "Did anybody want mine?" And I don't eat bologna, but I tell you, when they have stuff like broccoli and other vegetables and stuff, and the kids don't eat, I say, "You want that?" They say, "No, Mr. Henderson." I tears it up. I do. I go around and I tear it up because it's free food, and not only that, but when they see me eating it, it'll make them taste it. And that's what I want them to understand. The vegetables are good, and God bless Michelle Obama wherever you are. Wherever you are, because of what you have done, our children are now eating the better foods. Fruit, I tell you, they tear them apples and them oranges and plums, whatever they will eat it. Most of them are eating the vegetables, and our kids are eating better, so we won't be having children at 16 years old with high blood pressure. Yeah. This is ridiculous. Obese. So thank you, sweetheart, wherever you are. I love you much for that one thing that you did to change the course of the health of our children's lives. Leo, I'm sorry, I've been holding up. We'll go ahead. Ready.
Well, just briefly, I was a substitute teacher in the mid-'80s for 4 years. Roland Park Middle, Walbrook Senior High School, and Douglas High School. Spent more time at Walbrook, I think, than any of them. But I discovered that the white students who I work with in Roland Park, who had better records, at least in terms of academics, were just as bad in terms of their behavior as students who did. So I hope no one goes away with the supposition that white students in the city, 18 and 20, somehow are associated with it. And of course,
yes, I agree.
Yeah, the gravest consequences. And what I do, and I don't make any apologies, is I've said that if a teacher, obviously, and we can document, commits a crime of assault, and we lock the teacher up, we arrest her, maybe she may need wraparound services, she may not. The same thing is true of a high school, middle school students who attack teachers, and I'm going to have you arrested. And I'm gonna have shackles on you, your legs and your hands. I have a purpose in that. I'm trying to send a message that we will not tolerate it. We didn't at Douglas, and there's no reason to tolerate it now from anybody in any quarter.
I agree with you 100%. I believe it's Dwayne. Welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment?
It's Diane.
Di.
Hey, how y'all doing?
How you doing, Diane?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
Y'all know Doc gave me the name Aunt Diane.
Okay.
Years ago.
Yeah, years ago. I just wanted to call in. Y'all had some great topics today. I really enjoyed the conversation, And Patrick, I'm like you. I like the Common Core curriculum. I do, because it really helps a lot of students that were struggling with when they had the other ones in place. But now you see that little light, that little bulb is shining in them. When they can do something where they don't have to write it down, but if they could, do it the same and get the same exact answer in the math, you could see that little light there smiles and they come give you a great big hug. And the gentleman was right about Baltimore County schools. I told you that, Patrick. what we see in Baltimore City has been happening in Baltimore County too, but it doesn't make the news. But they have, now here's the thing about it that Baltimore City don't have. They have counselors, they have behavior specialists at those schools that can handle that. They have a gentleman that is a behavior specialist at the school that I came from, and he had muscles and everything. The children loved him because
you see he had muscles.
he had muscles.
It's helpful.
Oh, was that the seafood, Diane?
Huh?
The seafood?
No. He had muscles, like because he worked out.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought you were talking about. So they didn't fool with him, huh?
No, they did not fool with him, but they loved him because he was a male, and they don't get to see males a lot in their homes and stuff.
I agree.
He had muscles, not the muscles you
think. And
thinking.
some of them did stuff just to get to go to his office. But they did not sit there and not do anything. We took the work to them. And when they got in, I don't know how Baltimore City is, but when they got suspended in school suspension, they had to come to the principal office, get their work. And at the other school I came from, they had a desk sitting in the hallway, a couple of desks sitting in the hallway for them. And I used to be one of the people that had worked with them. They never came back in the class. When they were suspended, they were out of the class. They had the hallway is their classroom, and they had their work. This might be a suggestion for Baltimore City schools, but they didn't have them right there with the other children causing more habit. And that's what we need to start thinking outside the box.
Di, I agree with you, but the one thing I've learned about children, if they can't relate to what you're teaching them, they're not going to care.
That's true.
They don't care if you can find some kind of way. And I have found that I'm telling you, I see it every day. I can tell a story to the kids about something I want them to do. And then they get curious about it. They say, but Mr. Henderson, what if? And that's where I want them. I was talking to a parent yesterday at my church, and she was talking about her son is so curious. I said, oh, what a blessing.
Yeah,
what a blessing that you have. But wait a minute. You were talking about the kids are being the same thing. The smart kids are normally the ones that are mouthy.
Right.
They're the ones that got an attitude, and we mistake it as having an attitude when really it's their brains that are working.
I don't think they have an attitude.
I don't either.
I think that they're not being heard, so they want somebody to hear them, so they cause a record in the classroom.
To bring attention.
Right. I told you the young boy that he was black, he was gifted. He learned music by ear. Listen. And the music teacher said this, she said, Miss Diane, I wish I could, she said, when I go and talk to them, when they have the IP meeting about him, she said, I tell them how gifted he is in music, but it doesn't count because they don't want to hear it, because they look at his behavior, because he's bored, and he needed to be in a gifted school, just music and art and stuff, because that's what that's what he was put down here on earth for.
Yes.
And he used to climb lockers, and so they took me from another child to give me to him, and we had the best of times, and sometimes he got off, but I watched him, and I knew when he was getting, I said, let's go. We took those breaks that they had. But like you said, and he was very bright. He knew how to count. It wasn't nothing that he could do. He was one of the smartest one in that classroom. He could write his essays and everything. He would be finished before everybody. But they labeled him a behavior problem because we didn't understand what was happening at home.
Yes, and that's interesting you would say that. Thank you, Di. I'm going to call that PADHD. Parent Attention Deficit Disorder. This is what many of our children are suffering from. Parents not paying attention to them.
Let me bring forward an interesting factoid, if you will. In 1989, a study was done by a researcher by the name of Linda Faye Williams, and she studied survey data. 1989, on any given day, 4 in 10 young black men between the ages of 20 and 29 were under some kind of control by the criminal justice system. So that meant...
That was 89?
That was 1989.
Wow.
So in that year, there were 609,000 black men in prison and only 436,000 and 436,000 were enrolled in college. 609,000 in jail, 436,000 in college.
That has changed now. There are now more black men in college than there are in prison.
But the point I'm trying to make now is that we have a legacy here. So 1989 to 2018, we have parents and grandparents of the kids that you are now dealing with. And so you now have
cumulatively
the results of the prison industrial system,
and crack cocaine
and
all of
the
these
drugs and all of the things that happened. So just think about 1989,
and now synthetic drugs,
and now we're here 2018,
opioids,
and we're dealing with the impact of that, the legacy of that.
Leo.
Yeah. When I was in school, I know you get tired of me saying when I was in school. But
is that what they were called back then? How many moons?
Hey, shut up. Dr. Herbert M. Frisbee was my teacher at biology teacher and world famous Arctic explorer at Douglas High School. Elihu Norris, and we had a lot of black male teachers. Super qualified. Everybody had a master's degree or PhD
from New York University.
From I'm just saying we had that in abundance in Baltimore. I'm not talking about anywhere but Baltimore City. So is it but not by design that we go down the slippery slope now and we have a massive recruitment effort, or is it coincidental, of the white female teachers who are inundating the Baltimore City public schools? I'm saying we've got to balance that paradigm. We've got to support those black charter schools that have been around and have an initiative. Unless they're doing something criminal, we've got to provide whatever services necessary to sustain them. So I'm saying if we don't get focused on determining and maintaining our history again in terms of what has worked and what can work again, if we stop allowing ourselves to be manipulated, then we cannot hope to grow and succeed or survive education.
I agree, but
now
go ahead.
If somebody, Leo or Doc, maybe you might refresh my memory. Isn't it true that Coppin and Morgan at one time was the predominant schools providing the black teachers for Baltimore City?
Coppin was a teacher's college. Coppin State Teachers College.
Coppin State Teachers College. That's what it was. That's what
Coppin Normal School.
Named.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? I want to say something though in defense of white teachers and black teachers. See, the thing of it is, there are some white teachers that are there because they can't get no other job. But then there are a lot of black teachers don't want to be there because they don't want the headaches that come with it. Now, I'm just telling you from my observation, but I tell you what I've learned about those white teachers being there. It gives the black kids an opportunity to see what the other people are like. They might not get that closeness ever again in their lives to be able to do it. And I see the white teachers loving on the black kids. I see the black teachers loving on the black kids. I see something happening that I believe is good for society, even though we might find fault with it. There are not enough black men in the schools. I think we got 2 at Liberty. Only 2, and the principal is a male.
They don't want black men.
Well,
they say they do, but they don't want them.
But there are some special programs that they have, and I have attended the meetings. They had one last year where they had all these black males, young black men, Morgan State, Coppin, where they're nurturing them and bringing them in and giving them money for school. Leo, they're trying. There are some efforts.
Step it up big time.
But when I was coming through, they had black male elementary school teachers because I had 2 of them.
Me too.
But they usually moved out of the classroom ultimately and ended up as assistant principals.
Yeah, disciplinarians. Yeah, that's the problem. I think that if you only think of a person as a disciplinarian, you're going to dodge them, either they've got muscles or not. Andrew, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question. We have a hold on for a minute. You're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Don't touch that dial.
Talk in the day. Soul at night on the new 1010 WOLB.
Foreclosure. If foreclosure is a word you're hearing and worrying about, you need to get a fresh start now. Call Jeff Cerroti to stop foreclosure at 410-999-8000. Stop the harassing phone calls. Sleep easier. Set up a free in-office consultation with Jeff Cerroti himself to get your fresh start. Cerroti & Associates are the bankruptcy specialists. They've been helping Marylanders stop foreclosures and get out from under their mounting bills for over 25 years. Foreclosure stopped, or set up a free in-office consultation. You'll sit down with Jeff Cerroti to discuss your situation. No obligation, but if you do proceed, Mention WOLB for a special discount. Call today, 410-999-8000 or freshstartlaw.com to get your financial fresh start and stop foreclosure with the bankruptcy specialist, Cerrone and Associates. They're convenient to the Beltway with free parking. Stop foreclosure. Stop garnishment. Call Cerrone and Associates today at 410-999-8000. We're a debt relief agency helping people file bankruptcy under the bankruptcy code.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-799-0977. 800-799-0977. 800-799-0977.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
It only comes one time of the year.
Ah, that's my little Christmas song. Thank you, Jason. Bless you. When I heard it, I went, ain't that my music? God bless you. Thank you. Welcome back to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. The lines are buzzing, and I tell you what, I want to
You know
go.
I'm one of your biggest fans.
Well, you are, and I appreciate it, because sometimes I forget I'm an artist. And, the older I get, my heart is about the children. It's about the children. I don't know how much longer I got.
Keep singing.
Yeah, I keep singing, I keep living, singing. But the one thing about it is I know we got to keep working for our children.
I got an idea for one of your next projects.
What is
that?
A
children's album.
I've done 4 of them. Little Saints in Praise.
Oh, we gotta find that one. You're gonna make me dig now.
Oh, okay, all right.
Digging in the crates.
Here we go to Andrew, I believe it is. Andrew, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment?
Yeah, quick comment. For one thing, I want to say you're having a good show today. Everything sounds so good, especially about the children.
Yes.
And I just want to make a quick comment about the education-wise, as far as the children's identity. And identity should know about what we all achieve as a black person, as black people. Period. We achieve a whole lot in this world. And I just went by. I was listening to Michael Jackson the other day about "Remember the Time."
Yes.
I remember the video when Magic Johnson was a prince.
Yes.
And they were kings and queens.
Yes, of Egypt, yes.
And that was just beautiful how Michael Jackson brought that out. Remember the time where we was lifted people like that. And I think our children need to know that too.
Yes, sir.
We were high identity, beautiful black people. That's what I want to say. Have a good day.
Man, bless you. Thank you for saying that. That's it right there, the art. Go ahead, Doc.
I totally concur with the last caller and would like to suggest, I did a couple years ago have the Baltimore City public school system integrate something I had created in Baltimore City, and that is a booklet called African American Sheroes and Heroes.
Unlock him. I locked him, and get rid of Andrew for me. Okay, go ahead.
African American Sheroes and Heroes born in Baltimore City. It's up to maybe like 350 some people. It's a brief bio and a picture. And basically it was, instituted into the school system so far as an access where they could actually go. And it's on the internet. You can actually type it up. African American Sheroes and Heroes born in Baltimore City. Because what I began to see was that our schools were coming up with all these different crazy names, and the African American names that were on the school were being dropped down. So we'd like to strongly encourage that. One of the things I think we need to do more of is to not just always during Black History Month. It's always Malcolm X and Rosa Parks
and Martin Luther King.
And what I attempted to do was to let folks know that they got Sheroes and Heroes right here in the city. So encourage folks, to go check it out. You can Google it; it will come up.
Oh man,
about. It's just a way that we can uplift our own community, let folks know we got some great people here.
Yes, sir, and some greatness has come out of here, and there is even greater greatness here now within the brains of our children. I tell you, these children are remarkable. Y'all have no idea what we're sitting on, a gold mine of brains and efforts and new ideas. Ernest, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment, sir?
Yeah, I gave out some information a while ago about advanced criminology. Mike McCormick, Part 4, who explains he's a retired police officer. He had 10 years on, and he decided to go back to school. He got his undergrad and his graduate degree, and he explains why and how Detective Suter committed suicide. Now he did a thorough investigation. He checked all the reports.
Okay, Ernest. That's not the topic today, but I'd like to hear more about that. I'm writing his name down. Mike McCormick.
Yeah, I gave it to Jason Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I don't know why you don't know about it.
Well,
I gave it to Jason Rodriguez and every black talk.
I got it. It's just that wasn't the topic for today.
It's not for today.
About policing
but thank
issues.
you for calling in always. William, we're going to go to you. Welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People.
Well, I'd say these ex-police. I wish he worked as hard when he was on the police department trying to solve a few crimes. God, this guy just... Oh, anyway, Pat.
Yes, sir.
Our community was taught certain kind of... what we learned when we were in school. I'm 77 years old. What we learned when we was in school was the same thing that the astronauts and everybody else was taught. That was the kind of system that we were taught. This Common Core, which I'm very surprised that you agree with, because it came out of the Bush family.
No, it didn't. No. You're talking about No Child Left Behind.
No. I'm talking about down in Florida. Governor Bush's son, he introduced the Common Core.
Really?
And it's been really, really a problem for the black community. And especially black teachers are losing their jobs. Some of these people are going to jail because it really just teaches you how to pass a test. Most of the people that I know, my wife taught school for 32 years. My sister taught school for 40 years. And I hear people all the time. I don't know if I heard 10 people agree with Common Core. And for you to agree with it, I was kind of shocked. That's what made me call.
Okay, I'm going to tell you why I agree with it. Because I'm at Liberty Elementary School, where it is in full play. And it was the third ranked elementary school in the city. I talk to the teachers. I don't when I tutor the kids in reading, I go talk to their teachers so I can keep up with how the kids are doing, because it's just not enough to teach them. So I'm not talking about something I heard, sir. I'm telling you what
you're talking about. The reason why they're supposed to be so high in their scores. Common Core teaches you how to pass tests.
No, it does not. It teaches you how to think of more than one way of answering the question, sir. It doesn't teach you how to pass a test. It teaches you.
One more thing.
Yes, please.
Can I say one more thing?
Go ahead.
We did fine with the old reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Same thing, Common Core.
We made it to the moon with reading. These people that made it to the moon were taught reading, writing, and arithmetic.
That's what Common Core does.
I'm talking about before Common Core was even thought of.
Yeah, but you must realize that was for the industrial age, sir. We're in the computer information age. Times have changed, and when we don't change, we're behind the rest of the world in education.
We need the people that invented computers were taught reading, writing, and arithmetic before Common Core.
Right, so that we could get to gaming.
They were the people that invented this new system that we're dealing with, the computer system. They came out of the same kind of education system that I came out of.
I know, and they took it a level.
Common Core.
But I tell you, they created it so that we could have Common Core, so that we might find new ways of thinking.
We don't need Common Core.
Well, that's what you say, and if you don't want your children to have, I respect you too.
Now,
I can only speak from experience.
Where's your school located? Because see, I came in contact with some extra money. And I went to 3 schools looking for you.
You did?
In the name of Jesus on my mother's grave. I was looking for you to drop off $50, $60 because of what you do.
Well,
and I went up to the school up on Wabash. They said you weren't there.
No, I'm at Liberty Elementary on Main Avenue. You can go up there and ask. We just Leo's group,
Garrison Boulevard,
Garrison and Main. Leo's group, Roots of Scouting, just gave us money to buy a washer and dryer. Garrison and Main. Yes, right there on the corner. Forest Park, Garrison and Main, right on that corner. Big sign that says.
Okay, well, I'll be to that to contribute because I like what you do. You just don't come on here and run off at your mouth like we do.
No.
You get things done.
Oh man, why you got to insult my boy?
My only challenge with Common Core is that the challenge that I found was that if a child has a real challenge to reading, they would not be successful with Common Core. What my concern was, and we did it, we actually went to class as community leaders. My only challenge and my only suggestion was that we need to make certain that those kids that are having problems reading are able to get up to where they need to be so that reading won't be a hindrance to them having to implement Common Core.
You're absolutely right.
That was the one challenge that I experienced.
You're absolutely right. Let me tell you what they did at Liberty.
Okay.
They have a program called readingpartners.org.
Right. We have it at Matthew Henson.
That's right. But let me tell you what the principal over at Callaway did.
Go ahead.
See, at Liberty, the kids have to come to a room for it.
Okay.
This principal over at Callaway used the system in all of his teachers. So his teachers are teaching reading while they're teaching the classes.
Good.
They're operating with iPads so that they can learn to work the keyboard. The biggest failure of our children to pass these PARCC tests is they can't do the keyboards. They're not familiar with them enough to pass the test and do the thinking process. So now Callaway was #1 this year.
Wow.
#1. So you're absolutely right.
We need to emulate that through other schools.
Sir.
But that was a challenge.
Yes,
and
sir.
I would say this was probably has to be 3 semesters ago, so it's been 2 years ago. But that was the challenge. We went through classes, and that was the challenge that I saw. I said, what will the children do who are not up to reading, that the child would then have problems with Common Core. So we need to make certain that where they don't have the reading ability.
Because they can't do math with that if they can't read.
That's correct.
Because it's reading. It's all relative to it. So
we're on the same page.
I think the problem that I find with Common Core, and I'm in support of Common Core, don't get me wrong, but the problem is because I'm from the old school of teaching, when my grandbaby comes to me with it, or I see another child with it, it's unfamiliar to me.
Right.
And I don't have a clear understanding. It doesn't make 100% sense to me when I'm used to, getting out the old scrap piece of paper.
Doing it the way, I know. And we don't want to change, but there is a khanacademy.com, which if you can't help the kids, you can go on khanacademy.com and it can help you. We've got to see, this is new math. There is such a thing. It's just about the way that they're going about it. And I want y'all to remember this, and I'm going to take the next caller. Anything that is not growing is dying. We don't even dress the way we did 5 years ago. Everything is changing. And unless we understand that we must change with the times, we will get stuck in ruts. And when we're stuck in ruts, then we can't be productive simply because we don't know the information and how to apply it. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah. And Patrick, I know of Khan Academy. I took my LSAT practice test using Khan Academy.
Okay.
Yeah, and one of my favorite sites.
Wonderful free program.
Yes.
And if you can get to it, and your child can get to it, use it.
Yes, there's a history behind that.
Bill Gates.
Yeah, Bill Gates' children were using it. And
Bill Gates let me tell you the real deal. There was this Indian guy who did a system for his daughter because she couldn't get algebra. And Bill Gates saw it and said, hey, I like this idea, and
he saw his children using it. Bill Gates saw his children using it and saw how simplistic and how they were actually learning.
Exactly. So where there is a will, there is a way. But don't let nobody tell y'all the Common Core ain't important. Because the one problem that we've had as a people, and they did everything they could to keep it from us, is to use our critically thinking minds. They put us in jail. They beat us. When we marched, they beat us. They don't want us to. They don't want us to this day to think critically because they know that we invented civilization. They know know that in our blood is the DNA of greatness, because they would be living in barns with animals had not it been for us teaching their nasty stinking butts to wash their asses.
I think just for some of us, we're scared again to try new things, and in some cases there's been some failed examples of trying new things, like for instance when they were talking about new English in some of these schools and allowing these children to be able to speak Ebonics, and was trying to incorporate that into learning. I
Only because they wanted it to be relative. But I teach my kids, when they miss words, I say, hey, you can do that over here with me. That's cool. But you got to remember there are two sides to that coin. There are certain places you can't talk like that. And my biggest fear for them is that they're going to write like that. That is the biggest fear. So then people say, look at this. I said, and so I tell them, and I try to make them aware of it's okay to curse. It is really okay to curse.
You don't do them like me and correct them?
Oh, you know I correct them. You know I correct them. Even I hear them talking in public, I correct them. You know, you got to do it. The teachers don't correct them, I don't think, enough. They let them use the wrong verb tenses and stuff. Then when they write it, then they mark it wrong, when they could have been telling them all the time. I don't got is improper English. You don't got nothing. That's improper to use, but they won't do it. We're going to get to more calls here. I believe it says Carlos. Is that Carlos? Carlos, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment?
Thank you. Just a couple quick comments. The basic cause, the roots of education would be in the word itself, educa, which means to draw out,
right?
To bring out the best and to refine an individual so that he can contribute. Now, do we start off letting our students, realize this? Second quick point, you're right about, or the gentleman who mentioned about the great historical figures, here in Maryland that we could learn about, which
getting it today.
Our own history.
Yes, I'm getting it today.
Including Ron Karanga, Dr. Karanga, who grew up on the Eastern Shore and who is the father of Kwanzaa. And just a third point, I'm developing this particular timeline here. This has to do with HBCUs, and you might have to help me out here a little bit. Calvin W. Burnett, who was the former retired head of Coppin State College, was the Maryland Secretary of Education from May 21st, 2004 to January 21st, 2007. He went before the Higher Education Commission, or MEHAC, according to their notes here, on February the 17th, 2004. In fact, he stated that the Ehrlich administration would be supporting the HBCUs and so forth. And he was against the duplication. Sometime in the process, his arm was twisted, and he changed his mind.
Arm was twisted or sold out? Go ahead.
Sold out the twisted arm.
Now, my question would be this, and help me out here. I think that duplication thing was passed in 2005 under the Ehrlich administration, which was Republican. Subsequently, Coppin State College got a windfall and many, many improvements. Was there a quid pro quo between Burnett and the Ehrlich administration? I don't know, but it would be interesting to find out what went into the arm twist that changed his mind on the HBCU. And at this point, it's an ecumenical problem between the white Democrats and the former Ehrlich administration. Do you agree or disagree? And I'll take the answer off air.
Money, 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 money. Go ahead, Doc.
There's far more history to it, and of course, looking at the time we have, we most assuredly don't have the time to really give the history of it. But it's clear that some of our presidents of our institutions, HBCUs included, have done a disservice to us. It needs to go back to 1999 as to when the duplication issue really came up, about the duplication that was being done by the traditional white institutions as a result of the 4 black colleges here in the state of Maryland. So it's a long history to it, but it's clear that some folks that look like us did then on even today still selling us out. Because one, if you look at MEHAC has 3 of the 4 colleges under it. So do you think that someone that hires you, that you're going to say something negative about that? And I call it like I see it, Coppin, Bowie, and the University of Maryland Eastern Shore are all under the Maryland Higher Education Commission. So it is unlikely, and it is clear that they have been basically inhibited from saying the truth and saying what needs to be said because they were hired by MEHAC.
Yes, yes, yes. I agree with you. Thank you, sir, so much for your. That was Gene. I think he's always on top of it. Thank you. D, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment?
Yes, how y'all doing? What's up, Royal fam?
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Hey, look at it. Can we look at it from another point of view, dealing with the children?
Yes.
And their issues of saying that just because everything is moving faster don't mean we have to move our children faster, because it puts a lot of pressure on them. And the pressure they're receiving, for one example, in the 80s and the 90s, you learn how to type in high school. Children that wasn't in high school wasn't pushed like they push now, and pressured now to learn how to type to keep up with the the key, keep
keyboard,
up with times and stuff like that. So it could put a lot of pressure on them. And that's just because everything else around us is moving faster. That don't mean that black people should be moving that speed with them. And then another example that we could use to help our children out is also the people that they saying that they're learning from, that they see, like and this thing right now, children see more of urban, or what they will call common, and they see good people fit these categories of being that we supposed to be common and all this, and they see all that, and they're the ones that's being looked up to now. But then the common person also is depicted as a criminal and all that too. So when the children of us people that they will call common, when our children are in the schools and everything, and their teachers come in and they not common, urban, weird, not to the point that your pants are sagging and all that, but some of the stuff they can relate to, as far as the name brands and stuff of things,
values, yeah.
Yeah, so when they are receiving it from what they seeing from there and it's good, they're easily to accept it.
That's an interesting point. That's a real interesting point. But
I didn't follow it. I'm sorry.
Well, I think what he's trying to say that there's these alien sort of things that are coming in, and our kids are not. One thing that I disagree with him about was that things are moving too fast. You'd be amazed how fast kids are moving. Man, the kids get it real quick. It don't take them all day. It's just old folks that are moving slow.
It's not just the kids. It's the world. The world is moving progressively.
Yes, and it's not fast. It's just at a pace that it was quicker than it was quick then. We just didn't have the technology to hop on board.
If you had to do research in the past, you had to get out the old encyclopedia.
Go to the library, exactly. And that information was old.
My question is, you don't have to answer it now, but my question is, do we have evaluative instruments to determine how fast we should, or how we might evaluate new technologies that come into being every 6 months? In other words, how they impact on our lives, when we should embrace them, when we should not. I'm suggesting that much of the technology is good. I'm guilty of not keeping abreast.
Yes.
I'm told
guilty.
We're gonna lay hands on it.
But I want to know because I don't believe every new technology should be embraced at the time that the capitalist wishes that we embrace it at that point in time. And I question, and some of you know things I don't, so that's why I'm throwing this out here.
Brother Leo,
we measuring the pace and how that impacts on our lives positively and negatively? Everything new is not positive in terms of its application to our circumstance. Much the same as the smartphone is smart, but ought to be ought not to be your child's teacher. The smartphone is with your child more than the parent. So somehow you've got to balance this out in terms of what your children are exposed to, what you expose yourself to, and evaluate its impact and insofar as its application.
You know I love you to life, but I tell you what, man, I bought stock in Apple. If I had bought stock in Apple when the idea first came, if I bought 100 shares of it, I would be a multimillionaire.
That's not what I'm saying. I agree. I understand. Monetarily, that's not what I'm saying.
But I think we need to be aware of the way the world is moving and talk to each other and help us to understand the possibilities of making great wealth with seeing what's happening. Because, I mean, I remember when AOL came out, my next door neighbor, they were Mexicans. They owned an upholstery company. Right? The son told them, no, we're taking all of our money and we're investing in AOL. Doc, it wasn't 6 months later they moved to up in the hills. They were so rich from investing in AOL just because that son understood what the AOL was going to do for the world. So I think that I understand what you're saying,
but the
Leo.
government is not going to regulate. We have to sometimes regulate how it's applied with our children and ourselves.
But we must be made aware. I agree with you. We lost okay, Richard, I see you there.
And that's coming from a man who just recently had a answering machine with a cassette tape, right?
yeah.
Leave Leo alone.
But I know the failures of technology, and so do you, Jason. You know how it's not working for in our best interest in some circumstances.
Trish, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment?
Hey, I have a comment. A first-time caller.
Yes.
Hey.
Amen.
Yeah, I have been a participant, a PTA president with Baltimore City and Baltimore County. And if you have a strong PTA, it will demand and it will dictate the academics and services that's happening in your children's school. And as the president of the PTA for Woodlawn, as well as Northwest, as well as cross country, you saw onesies and twosies coming to the meeting. Those onesies and twosies, they get the services for the kids. The only parents that come to a meeting are those parents that have children in sports, but not in academics.
Yes, ma'am.
Most parents don't know about Park or Common Core, but they know about the sports program.
I'm guilty of that.
So if you want some changes, you gotta have a strong PTA because that's gonna dictate what's gonna go on in the schools. Other than that, they're gonna do what they want to do.
Miss Trish, let me hold on before you say that. You know, it's good if you join the PTA or the PTO, but you can go up and volunteer. See, some people don't want to make a commitment to an organization, but you can go up and volunteer. We need volunteers. We especially need black men to volunteer.
Absolutely.
It's
the only way that they're going to know what's happening with the parents and what services or what academics are available or other programs that are available for their kids. The parents have to participate. If they don't, then they're going to get
what they get. Thank you, Ms. Trish, and thank you for your support, for your work. Caller. Yes, she is. Thank you for what you do, though. We need more people like you. God bless you. All right, let's drop the good Jason. We got to get out of here. Things that are coming up. Let's talk about the HBCU. The bus that's going for the hearing.
Bus is going on Tuesday, December the 11th, leaving from Bowie, Coppin, Morgan, University of Maryland, Eastern Shore. Contact the Alumni Association at each school. Is leaving not this Tuesday, not tomorrow, but next Tuesday. We have to be there at 9:30 a.m. Definitely give us a call. Send us an email. Go online. You'll see about Maryland HBCUs. Thank you.
Yeah, I want you to call me directly if you're interested in participating in our Kwanzaa Roots of Scouting on the 26th of December. December 15th is our next rehearsal. Call me directly at 443-651 443-651-2578. 443-651-2578. We are Kwanzaa advocates.
Thank you, Gene, Mr. Moran, and also thank you, Richard Terry. God bless you all. We got to get going here. We ran out of time. But next week, you don't want to miss it because we're going to talk about how religion came up in here and divided us here in the city of Baltimore. You've been listening to Patrick Henderson Meet the People on WLB 1010 Baltimore. Have a great week. Be blessed.
32 and below could never put out this fire. Oh, it only comes one time of the year. Let's take advantage of it while
Talking the Day, Soul at Night on the new 1010 WOLB. The enrollment for healthcare is coming. Don't spend hours searching for coverage on the healthcare exchange. Call Health Markets and let their free service find the perfect healthcare plan for your family's needs and budget. They'll search thousands of plans from over 200 leading companies on the exchange and off to find the coverage you need with the most savings. Plans that even cover vision and dental and let you choose your doctor. And listen to this, with new changes and the highest subsidies ever, you could even qualify for free health insurance with no monthly premiums. That's right, free insurance plans are available, so don't miss out. When it comes to getting the right healthcare plan, don't go it alone. One call to Health Markets can take all the guesswork out and get you the best coverage for your needs and budget. Best of all, their service is free. The open enrollment deadline is December 15th, so call Health Markets today for your free quote. Call 800-712-4459. That's 800-712-4459. 800-712-4459. 1010 WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore.
The views and opinions of the guest and host you hear are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors, or advertisers.
Hello there, and thanks for tuning into this week's show. I'm your host, Chris McKay, and I'm really happy to have you along today as we explore and discover the secrets to health, wealth, and better living. And if you're a longtime listener of the show, welcome back. We appreciate it. And if you're just joining us for the first time, nice to have you along today. I want to start by sending a big thank you out to our sponsor, Dr. Newton's Naturals. They're one of the best sources of high-quality nutritional supplements at discount prices. You can visit them online anytime at drnewtons.com. And I want you to check them out when you have a chance because they really have some great products to improve your health and the health of your family. Okay, on today's show, we're talking about vitamin D, sometimes referred to as the sunshine vitamin, but folks, here's the problem. Many of us aren't getting enough sunshine lately between slathering on those powerful sunscreens and spending more time indoors, and what it really comes down to is this vitamin D deficiency that's out there is causing an avalanche of health problems for 70% of our population, ranging from pain, loss of balance, muscle weakness, depression, increased blood pressure, arthritis, memory loss, and even a compromised immune system. And I have Dr. Michael Pincus with me today to talk about the most effective way to get vitamin D. Dr. Pincus, it's good to talk to you again.
Chris, it's great to be back. Thank you.
You know, many of you know that Dr. Pincus is a nationally recognized authority on natural and alternative health. He's a successful chiropractor. He's worked with top Hollywood celebrities, professional and Olympic athletes, and he continues to be very involved in some of today's top health concerns. And let's kind of start at the top, Dr. Pincus, and talk a little bit about what are some of the warning signs that you may be deficient in vitamin D?
Okay, well, the part of it is how you feel. And one of the things, Chris, is being tired for no apparent reason.
Okay.
But on the reverse side of that, I've seen that a lack of vitamin D affects your sleep. Okay, another big sign is that your bones ache. Now, there's a lot of people listening who've been diagnosed with osteoporosis, which is a thinning of the bone.
Mm-hmm.
But again, a vitamin D deficiency. A big one is muscle weakness. So you try to get up from a couch, you get in and out of a car, and you're finding it more and more difficult. And that's leading to the high prevalence of people falling and injuring themselves.
Ah, okay. All right.
Which is a huge problem.
Right, exactly.
Another one is you tend to get more colds, especially upper respiratory problems.
Okay.
Problems with blood pressure, cardiovascular problems, digestive problems, constipation, bloating, gas.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very common. And if you're a diabetic, there's all kinds of data about being deficient in vitamin D, and the list goes on and on. It's a huge problem.
What does vitamin D actually do in the body? What is it used for?
Well, when we use the word vitamin, it's actually kind of a misnomer because vitamin D is actually a hormone.
Okay.
And this regulates thousands of genes in the body. Everything from pain, blood sugar, immune system, blood pressure, bone strength. Plus, vitamin D has been linked to maintaining colon health, breast, prostate, and ovarian health. But I'll tell you what, the way we're taking vitamin D is all wrong. It's all messed up.
Well, why do you say that? Why is it messed up?
Well, first of all, you go to your doctor and they say, I'm going to put you on a vitamin D supplement, and it's like 400 international units, which is totally worthless. Or God forbid, if you're listening right now and you're taking a multivitamin and you think you're covered, that's why you're on 6 or 8 or 10 different prescription drugs. I'll tell you that right now, because your body is not getting enough D. The other thing is that vitamin D is an oil. You don't absorb oils in your body. They're very difficult to digest.
Okay.
So I've come up with my own vitamin D, which I call Dr. Pincus's vitamin D3 formula.
So, Dr. Pincus, what makes your fast melt vitamin D formula so unique?
Well, Chris, first of all, I put 5,000 units of vitamin D3 per serving in each tablet so you can actually feel the difference. I wanted to give you enough dosage so it really goes to work. Second, I use the right type of vitamin D in my formula, which is superior and readily available so your body can digest it, and this is known as vitamin D3. And third, my formula is a fast melt tablet that's available for immediate absorption.
You know, you mentioned that vitamin D is an oil. So how were you able to make your formula into a fast melt?
Well, good question, Chris. Here's what I've done. I've worked with an advanced team of scientists, and these guys, they know their stuff, and they're using this technology to convert vitamin D, which is an oil, into a dry powder. And once they do that, they put it in this fast dissolving melt for immediate absorption and quick results that you can feel.
What's some of the feedback that you're getting, Dr. Pincus, from people that are taking your fast melt D3?
Well, I'm getting tons of feedback. You know, I've got people that email me. Here's an email from Betty, and she writes, I was diagnosed with a severe vitamin D deficiency, and she said she tried many other vitamin supplements.
Okay.
And then she discovered my D3, and she said she went back to her doctor, had her blood test, and her blood test went back into a normal range just within weeks.
Wow. All right, folks, I want to take a moment here to let you listeners know that if you want to try Dr. Pincus's vitamin D3 formula, there's a special toll-free number for you to call. It's 1-800-476-5302. You know, Dr. Pincus's vitamin D3 formula is a fast-dissolving melt that is available for immediate absorption by your body for rapid results. And by getting vitamin D3 into your body, you're going to have a bolstered immune system, improved balance, stronger muscles, and fewer aches and pains. And just so you know, Dr. Pincus has arranged a very special offer that's only available to you listeners. So when you call, be sure to mention this program, and you're going to get a risk-free trial of Dr. Pincus's vitamin D3. Again, this is only available to you listeners, and only if you call this toll-free number. It's 1-800-476-5302. Plus, if you call right now, you'll also qualify for an extra free supply with your order to keep for yourself or share with a family member or a friend. But you must call now because this special radio offer is not available in stores or online. So that number to call is 1-800-476-5302. And remember, folks, you have absolutely nothing to lose here because Dr. Pincus's vitamin D3 formula is guaranteed to be safe and effective or your money back. And when you do call and order, you will not be automatically enrolled in one of those monthly subscription programs. This is a one-time order. So the number to call is 1-800-476-5302. I'll give it to you again. It's 1-800-476-5302. All right, for those of you just joining us, I have Dr. Mike